This morning, we heard from Roberto Romero about the Metaverse and how at Accenture Song they are convinced, without doubt, that Metaverse is the future. Just a few days ago at MetaConnect 2022, Meta's annual conference, Mark Zuckerberg presented the company's latest products for experiencing the Metaverse, and they are truly fascinating. I'm sure we're going to hear about them in a minute. So it is time to take a closer peek at the future that awaits us, thanks to the marketing lead, Metaverse, and emerging platforms, the Meta. Let's welcome Riccardo Scotti di Uccio. Riccardo.
Thank you so much, Elena. Thanks for having me today.
Lovely to see you. As I was telling Riccardo, behind the scenes, there's been a lot of interest in the Metaverse this morning, and Meta's already been named. So you have the expectations are quite high. People all over the world, as I was saying, and I say hello to our friends from Colombia. They've connected and sent tweets this morning. So looking forward to this, to your keynote. Tell us all the secrets. What's coming? Thank you, Riccardo.
Fantastic. Thank you. And it's really great to be here. I hope I can give you a glimpse of the future we hope to build together, that we're investing in at Meta. Metaverse is definitely a big hot topic, and indeed, I've heard that you touched on it a lot today, a lot as well with Accenture Song this morning, with a session from this morning. So there's really a lot of talk about this topic, and for us, it's a topic on which we started to share a lot since last year, since Connect last year in October 2021, when we shared our vision for the future, and we even rebranded our company to Meta, for as much as we believe indeed in this future. So I hope to give you a view and even an understanding about what the Metaverse is, and also what's the opportunity for businesses that are starting to look towards this shift and this trend. But before we dive in properly in the topic, I want to go back a bit in time and start with a bit of context. So when we look over time, our generation, our lives, the evolution and the shifts we went through have radically changed the way we connect, we learn, we work, we shop, we do anything. Many of you can remember probably some of those new technologies, those new things that came into our lives and that changed the way we connect to each other, the way we express each other. I cannot definitely remember when the telephone was introduced in my house. I'm definitely born after that. But I remember when the computer came into my house and how it changed many things that we do, from gaming to learning to then being connected with others. And then we saw, many of us, lots of different shifts into our lives when mobile phones were introduced, smartphones, 3G, 4G, 5G connectivity, so infrastructure as well. You can add so many elements of technologies that came and that changed the way we connect, that democratized connections, that removed barriers like distance and cost, and allowed us to be in touch with each other anywhere, anytime. And so the Metaverse is really the next step here. The platforms and the experiences that make up the Metaverse will take what we love about today's internet, the connections, the experiences that are impossible in the physical world, and make them so much better. And the devices that will take us there represent the next evolution of computing, one that is much more immersive and integrated into our lives. So what does it mean exactly? When we think about the Metaverse, we believe that the Metaverse will be around us. So today, our relationship with the internet is looking at the internet, looking at it. Almost all the interactions happened flat and frame and fixed into this digital canvas we call a screen. And we have one, I have one in front of me with my laptop. I have one in my pocket with my mobile. Those are digital canvases where everything is quite flat. Our belief, though, is that from now on, you won't be looking just at content, but you will be inside of it. And so the idea is the possibilities of what the internet is are literally laid out at your feet, aided by augmented reality and mixed reality headsets. So this is just theory, but what I want to show you is that when you look at the applications, the Metaverse will help us take learning, discovery, and many other experiences to a whole new level with lots of new benefits. So I want to share with you a short video, a very recent video we have, with a taster of what we imagine that can change in some of those experiences.
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual. But one day, this lecture hall will be made of code. And though they're virtual students, what they'll learn together is real. A surgeon will be able to practice as many times as needed in the metaverse before laying her hands on a real patient. Being able to explore a spacecraft is one thing, but the metaverse will let us go farther than any rocket can take us. In the future, students will be able to take a field trip to ancient Rome. And young artists can learn from a masterpiece. Farmers will one day use augmented reality to help ensure the best yields. And urban planners will be able to model traffic solutions to help decrease commute times. So while the metaverse may be virtual, the impact will be real.
So I love this example in this video because also, as you might have noticed from my name, from my accent, I'm Italian, and we have an example from Rome and the possibilities of bringing students back in time into a place, a location, to learn about history directly, being fully immersed into it. And I was lucky enough to be raised in Rome and have the possibility with my school to have a day trip and go to specific sites and historical sites and visit there with a guide and learn. But that's not possible for everyone. Definitely it's not possible for most children that are learning and going through their education journey. But this is about giving access to them. This is about having the opportunity to jump back in time and to jump into a place that is far away and learn in a completely immersed way. So that's why I find this example really fascinating and very close to home. But so when we talk about the metaverse, there's really not a definition yet in the industry. But the way we define it is the set of digital interconnected experiences that people are able to create, interact, and experience with other people that are not in the same physical place as them. And the idea is that we'll be able to access those experiences from many devices with different levels of definitions. Some devices exist today, our screens, our laptops, and our mobile phones, and some devices that exist that are quite innovative as well, like VR headsets. And some devices will exist in the future, like wearables, for example. So not unlike anything that came before, the internet, desktop computers, the app store, mobile devices, and so on, accessing the metaverse through augmented reality, mixed reality, and virtual reality devices will take some time getting used to. The way we'll show up into these experiences, those worlds, will be through our avatars. Those are the synonymous of our digital identities and will power meaningful experiences across our platforms and beyond our platforms. Think about the identity we have today and then being able to choose an appearance to bring the way we want to express ourselves in different contexts, and maybe depending if it's work, on entertainment, or gaming, we want to show up in a different way. Our connections that we have already today, our digital belongings and clothing to express ourselves again in different ways, and then everything we need to go across the experiences. And the idea is that all of this and our digital presence will enable better, richer social connections and provide a unique sense of presence even when we're far from each other. It will make the time we spend online better, and it will allow us to connect our physical worlds to augmented and virtual worlds through the metaverse. So imagine, for example, being able to attend a concert with a friend that is in another country and deciding if you want to be there live while the concert is happening or on demand, and choosing if you want to be in the crowd, in front of the stage, or backstage. In many experiences, it will help us feel more present with the world around ourselves, and we'll be able to interact with content, games, work through our bodies, our senses, our sight, spatial audio, not just keyboards and touchscreens. And this is about, when we talk about presence, it's being able to communicate and interact with all the subtle cues that we use in the physical world. Hand gestures, for example, eye contact, expressions, and having that to create a deeper connection with others. And in some way, you can already experience some of this today with the Quest 2 and Quest Pro headsets that we recently launched. And you can use some controller-free experiences where you don't have controllers, you directly use your hands, and where you can participate in social experiences with others and directly look at each other, high five with the person next to you, go to a whiteboard if you're working together, and indeed use your body to communicate more than just your face in a frame. In shopping, of course, there will be a revolution. Shopping experiences will evolve, and it will give brands so many more opportunities to redefine what storytelling means and even what product merchandising can mean. Imagine being able to create those wonderful story experiences we often see just in big cities, and going beyond that, breaking some of the rules of physics, breaking the rules of cost, making things more scalable, more cost efficient, and being able to recreate an environment that communicates the product and the brand in a different way. And of course, I gave a notch to that, but it's not just entertainment, games, fun, shopping, but it's also about work. And professional presence will evolve as well. Imagine being able to work from anywhere with anyone and still feel like you're together, and working on projects in a different way with things rendering directly in front of you. So new ways of working. And so it's really about removing those boundaries like geography, and removing challenges and barriers like access, and being able to have a dream job from anywhere in the world, being able to live somewhere and connect with others and being like around the same meeting room. And again, this is also quite possible today with some new platforms that we recently launched, like workrooms. And last week at MetaConnect, we also made lots of announcements in this new space. New devices, for example, the Meta Quest Pro headset, geared towards a professional audience, and partnerships with players like Adobe. You see an example here, to build and design objects directly in immersive experiences, with Microsoft to integrate avatars and work experience with avatars and presence in Teams, and with Zoom in a very similar way. So it's about building this with others as well. And so why all of this matters? The content that people want to interact with and share has changed over time. And there's a clear trend that technology enables people to share richer content with increased frequency, and people take advantage of that. People were sharing only text in the past, then they moved to photos, album of photos, videos, in some cases more immersive videos like large landscape or 360 videos. And over time, we see the opportunity to shift to more immersive content like AR or VR. And so this is an opportunity and a challenge for all businesses as well. If people have the tools for more engaging content, more expression, we should also create more useful experiences for them to engage with. And in this space, our company has been evolving massively. Our platforms and experiences have adapted to new technologies over time. If you remember, Facebook was just a website on desktop, and we evolved to apps and to new services, virtual reality, and more immersive experiences in the future, in the years to come. But something we want to be extremely clear about is that the metaverse won't be built by us alone. It can only be built collaboratively. And there won't be a meta-run metaverse, just like the internet is not run by one organization. The metaverse will be built by an entire ecosystem of companies, of brands, of developers, of creators, of partners. And it's going to be many organizations that will also exist and already exist today, like the Metaverse Standards Forum, that will come together to foster the development and acceleration of interoperability standards for an open and inclusive metaverse. It's about defining those principles for how the metaverse will operate. And we're very happy to see many of those external councils, forums, and bodies being created to accelerate the development and defining how the metaverse will work. Of course, on our side, we're making a large investment. And what we're doing is really to accelerate the development of those fundamental technologies that will bring the metaverse to life. Technologies like hardware, platforms where people can meet and do things together, whether it's entertainment or work, and creative tools that nurture the ecosystem with creators with the ability to create new experiences. And you'll see investments from our company in hardware and software really focused on defying distance, on bringing people together and providing new opportunities for how people can express themselves and do things together. So in this space, technology, platforms, and creative tools, last week at MetaConnect, we had lots of different announcements, lots of new partnerships with content developers, creators, and large businesses like Microsoft. So I want to share a quick recap. It's a 1-minute video of the event last week, if you are not been able to attend, directly from Mark Zuckerberg himself.
At Meta, we're focused on building the fundamental technology that will help bring the metaverse to life.
The metaverse should be accessible across all kinds of screens and devices.
That's why we're developing Horizon Worlds on the web, so that you can access it from a computer or any mobile device.
Quest Pro is the first in our new line of advanced headsets. With mixed reality built in, it lets you do things that just haven't even been possible before. Over the last year, we've been working with dozens of partners to create new experiences for people who are looking to get things done in VR and beyond. And next year, we'll launch Quest for Business. It's a subscription bundle that includes a suite of features like work accounts, device and application management, premium support, and more. And this is just the start. Thank you for being a part of this journey, and we'll see you again soon.
So this is really just the start, as he mentions at the end. We're in year 1 after sharing our vision, and it's a vision that we oversee and we want to look forward for the next 5 to 10 to even 15 years. And the beauty is that our past investments in communities, creators, and commerce tools only help us bridge our vision for the future. Our foundational apps, product services like Facebook, Instagram, Messenger, and WhatsApp will all serve as a crucial part of the metaverse ecosystem in bringing communities together, in developing an ecosystem of creators and content creators and builders, and then in providing opportunities for commerce and exchange and transactions between people and other people, or businesses and people. So as we look towards this future and those bridges to the future, we can look as well what it means from the business perspective, and we can look at what building communities, what storytelling and what commerce means, and how it evolves over time, and how we see it evolve in the future. When we start from community and look at community across our technologies, we've seen how people connect over time and how it evolved as needs and passions shifted through feed directly to connect with their interests, messaging and private messaging, and then groups and private groups. Today, it's all about co-creation. Co-creation is at the center of everything, and we see that in some examples like AR group calling, where people can feel together, even if they're very far apart. And future experiences, we believe that they won't be built just by single entities, but instead that it will be built by people, by creators of every kind, by diverse creators, by businesses, developers, and more. So the range of creativity and the people stepping in is growing massively. And in the future, our vision is that physical distance won't be a limit for people's ability to connect with each other or to find meaningful opportunities to do things together. And we'll enable this in part through Horizon Worlds. Horizon Worlds is a virtual reality app where people can socialize, explore, create their own VR spaces called worlds, and they can experience those with others. And we're seeing brands innovating and interacting with customers beyond what we've traditionally known to be possible, using tools like virtual reality. Like an example here you see from Wendy's, where they connected their campaign that was related to the NBA with an environment that then evolved over time, where people could connect with the brand, play with the brand, and meet other people. Now, storytelling. Storytelling is extremely important, and communication has always been for brands telling impactful stories, whether those are long form immersive tales or short form behind the scenes content. Brands have always reimagined communications with customers many times over the year with different ways of producing content. Today, it's all about immersive and interactive experiences where people really want to consume content quickly and they crave this type of content. And across our technologies, we're seeing this growing a lot through Reels and Spark AR. And finally, in the future, tomorrow, we're starting to see a bit how we'll be able to experience content in many ways through new technologies like smart glasses or virtual reality headsets like Meta Quest. And we'll need to start thinking about how we can leverage the unique qualities of augmented mix or virtual reality. We're seeing here an example from a museum in Germany where you can visit directly the exhibition on desktop or in virtual reality and jump into the paintings and look around the painting. That's quite unique. So there is some truly unique opportunities in this space to create something new. And so finally, commerce. Commerce is something that has already existed for ages on Facebook, even with virtual commerce. We dabbed into virtual goods ages ago with gifting. We had a marketplace where you could buy a gift and post it on the Facebook wall of your friends. And it hasn't been unfamiliar neither in gaming as well, through games like Farmville, Animal Crossing. All those games relied on the sale of virtual objects to maintain the gameplay. And we've seen as well how virtual connections can lead to sales of physical goods through, as we've seen on Marketplace, for example, on Facebook. So we saw commerce evolving over time on our platforms. Today, we see an evolution with Facebook shops and Instagram shops, where people can jump in and discover new products and new amazing products and services every day. And we imagine the future where there's going to be opportunities to connect both physical and virtual commerce and connect virtual goods to physical goods as well. You'll see investments from us in transforming Facebook shops and Instagram shops into virtual spaces, like in the example I shared, and giving more opportunities for brands to showcase products through AR. Digital collectibles is something growing massively on Facebook and Instagram, allowing creators and collectors to showcase their assets that they own. And brands can partner with creators as well to create digital collectibles that can be posted on Instagram and Facebook to deepen that engagement with the community. And finally, we recently launched the Avatar Store that allows people to customize their avatar with items from brands they love or creators they love. And it means creating a new opportunity for people to in some way monetize, and for brands to support, or for people to support the brands they love. There's been a glitch in the slide, but it's all good. So going towards the conclusion, we see all these trends and shifts happening in the market. And while in some way the hardware for those experiences is still being developed and many elements are still far away, there are some opportunities to start stepping in today while our long-term vision gets realized. Today is really about investing in the space of 2D apps and nailing those experiences such as native commerce, augmented reality, business messaging, for example. In the near term is about understanding these bridges to the future with 3D experiences. So building the capabilities in-house and learning about virtual reality, virtual objects, and 3D experiences. And in the future, it's really about understanding how virtual reality can create more opportunities for brands on one side to create experiences and new ventures with us, for example, in Horizon Worlds, where people can meet and socialize with a brand in a different way, or how VR can affect other parts of the business, like in training and development or through virtual working. As I mentioned earlier, the products of today are the bridges to the future. So there's an opportunity to start today, looking at how you can build different skills, how you can test new ways of connecting with your audiences through the 2D platforms. And our recommendation is really to dive into the foundations, understanding how you can start building the muscle, how you can start forming the right teams, building the right skills, learning the talents and the qualities and the capabilities you need to build in different teams. It's about defining the experimentation journey. So what are the steps in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, and beyond from the strategy perspective for the business and for the marketing, and then working with the right partners. There are so many new players that come into this game that are here to help businesses, that are here to help creators. So it's about understanding who you need to work with, and that's where we can help as well. So with that, we look forward working with you and building this future with you. There is a lot to do, a lot to experiment, a lot to learn, but we look forward to being on this journey with you. And with that, thank you so much for listening. Elena, I believe we have some time for questions, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, we do. Actually, first of all, congratulations, Riccardo. My God, there is a lot to be done. So no wonder this is a fascinating time to be alive. That was mentioned this morning as well in the digital business stage where I was. It's a fascinating. I'm sure you agree, Riccardo. You're probably in the best spot as a professional to enjoy and to witness all this what's coming. Yeah.
It's very exciting. It's very exciting indeed to see this transformation. And
every night you pinch yourself every night. Aren't I lucky?
Exactly. No, and we'll see lots of opportunities like happening across industries and new experiences that are fascinating, I would say, and that are very meaningful for lots of people.
Great, thank you so much. Well, time for a few questions. First question, from the business perspective, what can I do today as a marketer to prepare? Our audience is obviously full of creative people, marketers, etc.
So it's a question we get a lot, actually, because indeed everybody is like, there's so much and a lot is vision, a lot exists already. Where do I start? And even if it's early day, we recommend definitely one of the first advice is to focus on knowledge, first and foremost, understanding all of this, building in some way the knowledge inside the teams, inside the right teams. And it's not just marketing, it's lots of teams that are affected on the business side, on the tech side, on the product side, to understand the potential opportunities in the short term and the long term. And so it's about defining this strategy internally, how this trend is going to affect us. Like when probably we could have learned about mobile internet maybe 3, 4, 5 years before it was mainstream. And then there are, of course, as I mentioned, some opportunities today in the 2D space with the augmented reality that already can be used on our phones. There are more than 700 million people using AR on Facebook and Instagram. So that's a great first step for many businesses to start building content and experiences in a new way and to experiment the skills, the talent, to build in some way a bridge journey for them as well.
Okay. Actually, knowledge, but regarding the metaverse this morning, as I mentioned, it was spoken a lot about it, and Riccardo Romero from Accenture Song was recommending the audience to obviously, first of all, try it, get into it, just trial and error, try, do it, use it. Also, he was talking about prototype and having a very clear strategy. And you added, in a way, this knowledge, obviously, yes. And not to be afraid of it, because people seem to be, this is unknown territory. Not just, it's much friendlier than a lot of people may think. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
Another question is a very good one, because also a lot of people worry about this. Is how is Meta going to be able to reassure people that the metaverse is a safe space?
Yes, so this is extremely important, and it's kind of a big question that comes up every time any new technology gets introduced. Safety, personal safety in some way. People think about those experiences, not even just for the business, but for themselves as people. And principles of safety, privacy, security, transparency as well need to be built in from the start. If we have those right from the beginning, if people understand those and they're in control, then we can be better at tackling challenges with the new technologies as they arise, and we can learn better what we need to tackle. And we're taking a lot of learnings as well from today. With the metaverse, we're at the start of the journey, and we're seeing lots of new challenges being introduced that we need to solve, not just as Meta, but as an industry. And that's why we're working with a lot of researchers, academics, regulators, policymakers, and industry bodies, like I mentioned a couple of examples, to define a bit the principles for the metaverse, the principles, the rules that will need to be upheld to make this work properly. Something that's really important on our side is we're building the metaverse responsibly through some principles we have embedded into our product, into the way we build things. And those are related to putting people in control, so making sure they understand the experience, the data that is used about them, giving people controls about the experience to protect themselves in case something doesn't feel right, so giving them the tools. It's about building products for a diverse community. We're used to billions of people across our apps. We need to make sure that the new and future platforms and experiences are done right for any type of community, and so for a very diverse community. And it's really about putting people first before anything else, before any other entities, thinking about people first when we build our products.
And actually, we go back to knowledge again, then knowing, and the more we know of the limits and what we're playing or dealing with, the more secure, the safer we will be as users or as customers in the metaverse. And also this morning, there was mention within this concept as well, or the metaverse in particular, the diversity. So important. You said we'll be in the metaverse together. Diversity was mentioned in several of the panels as diversity in obviously in gender, diversity in languages, in culture, in so many. The more diverse, the more complete the metaverse will be. And in that sense, you also mentioned that word that we take it for granted sometimes, but it's crucial not to understand well, the limits and the potential risks as well. Yeah.
Completely.
Great. So a couple more questions, Riccardo. We have time. When is any of this actually going to be available? This morning already also was mentioning, is this already? Can we go when? It's not ready yet, but will be. How does it work? Is there a deadline? Is there, in the 1st of January 2023, we all go into the metaverse. Yeah.
Yes, no, exactly. And everybody typically is like, when? Is it now, or is it too much in the future? So should I bother now? And the truth is, it's a journey. It's a journey from the product perspective. Everything I mentioned platforms, I mentioned tools, I mentioned tools for creators, for the ecosystem to create those 3D interactive experiences. All of those are parallel roadmaps that are starting to happen, and that will happen in the future in parallel ways, but of course integrated. Let me give you an example. Hardware for virtual reality and mixed reality. The Meta Quest headset, they were used to call Oculus. Those have existed for a while, and we're now at the 4th or 5th generation. 3-4 years ago, you needed to have a big computer that would cost maybe 2,000-3,000 euros. Then being connected with a cable of the device, it was expensive. It had sensors around. So it was a very inaccessible type of device for just few. Today, the Quest Pro, the Quest 2 headset, and even the Quest Pro are untethered. You don't have cables. You have everything in your head. And the Quest 2 costs 500 euros. And it's like all the power is there, all the connectivity is there, and you can go straight in and consume content and connect with others as well. It's a big generational leap that happened in just a few years. And so we'll see that happen and continuing to happen in the next few years as well. The same like we saw on the smartphone side. Platforms will evolve. Other tools for creators will continue to evolve. Again, it's about for businesses to start being on the journey and learning what are the steps for now, while thinking some things will come in the future and will affect my business. So how should I start thinking now about the strategy or the new opportunities we'll need to work on next year or start to experiment next year? But as you said earlier, there are opportunities to learn now and to get a taster as well through AR on our phones, through our camera of our phones, or virtual reality or mixed reality to the existing headset. I can be here presenting 2 hours. There's nothing better than jumping in and trying. It gives you a full picture of what it really is.
Yeah. And regarding the the tools and the glass and all that, well, we have to see what happened to the phone, how the first phones, and things change so quickly. So we'll see in a few years' time or months' time how technology develops and it changes, and eventually, who knows? Well, you'll tell us, yeah, Riccardo.
Yeah, I mean, we're still using desktop computers, so somewhere.
Okay, of course, we have to talk about advertising. Will you have advertising in the metaverse, which is obviously good for a lot of our audience because we work in that sector. So give us some good news.
Yeah, I mean, we couldn't be at an IAB event without talking about advertising, I feel. So it's still early days when we talk about advertising in the metaverse. And so when people think the metaverse, they think only VR. And in reality, the metaverse spans across augmented reality, mixed reality, and virtual reality. In augmented reality, there are already many opportunities that businesses can take even to advertise with augmented reality ads and directly create experiences that people can try on their phone, like an ad, and see some furniture and then see the furniture in their house. And we have a strong case study from that with a company called Made.com, which is amazing to see what it looks like. But then in the future, we see lots of different opportunities that are not defined yet in terms of how new revenue stream opportunities can be created for people and businesses with the subscriptions, with other monetization tools for businesses to sell goods, for example, virtual goods and so on. So commerce, of course. For now in VR, there is no advertising, but brands are starting to step in to redefine what a brand experience looks like. So we saw in a video quickly a mini experience, a world where you can go and experience mini, and you're in virtual reality in a mini world, and you can play with the card, you can visit the card, you can see a world that is related to the brand. Or another example I shared was Wendy's. Brands are redefining what it means advertising in the metaverse. And it's not the banner we typically think about, but it can be another total different experience for storytelling or for commerce in the future as well.
Well, the future is bright then, Riccardo. Looking forward to it. I'm just going to keep, I'm going to, because we have this hashtag Inspirational22, and I'm encouraging our viewers, listeners to send tweets. For me, it's a few words. It's experience or journey, you mentioned. And this sentence that I love, the metaverse will be virtual. The impact will be real. Thank you so much, Riccardo Scotti di Uzio, for joining us today on this fantastic first talk in the afternoon. We're looking forward to all that Meta is bringing us together in this journey. Thank you so much, Riccardo.